Hi, this is Robert. Welcome to my Volvo S70 Restoration YouTube video series. If you would like to attempt to see these videos in order, go to my channel, which you click there, Robert DIY. Once you're on my channel, click the playlist link that is there. It'll take you to all my playlists. And once you see my playlist, roll your pointer over the play all button on the Volvo restoration videos and click that, and it should play all of the videos in order. I hope the series encourages you to restore your car. Today's day 15. I have a few things that I need to take care of. I have a rubbing sound on my driver's side, so I guess my dust skirt is bad. I got bent when I had that axle out. Then I need to boot the axle on the passenger side, and I need to take care of a couple other small things. Okay, the first order of business today was to stop the rubbing sound coming from this wheel. So when I came back here and looked at this dust shield, it was touching down here at the bottom against the rotor. So I pulled that off. Let me come this way, see if you can see it better from this way. I pulled that off the bottom of the rotor, so that sound should be gone. Then as you can see, I had some tire rub in here on this splash guard, and I learned that 3 of these rivets down here on the bottom of this mud flap was loose, so I cut them off with these snips, and I have the new rivets I'm going to go ahead and pop in there to hopefully secure that so it doesn't rub anymore. I believe a lot of dealers sell these things for about $3 a piece, when the aftermarket suppliers normally sell them for about 50 cents a piece. Alright, those are your special plastic end cap rivets that you put in there. Put that in place and you pop them in, and the plastic stops it from cutting those other plastic holes up with the metal. And you use a normal pop rivet tool to secure those. Now these rivet guns, they have 4 different adapters that fit rivet ends. You put the one in your tip that fits best, then you push the rivet in through the hole and put pressure on it as best you can, and then you pump the handle until you feel it pop. Okay, I got that mud flap held in place, but these aftermarket rivets this time, all 3 of them split. They secured it, but I don't like the fact that they split, so I'm going to let the supplier know that those things are coming apart. Next on the list was this latch. It wasn't releasing the hood, so I was pumping it up and down while spraying it with some lithium grease. WD-40 might work. WD-40 would probably do better cleaning and lubing it, but I did lithium grease, so I'm going to close the hood and see if it'll start releasing it here in a minute. Next on the list was that coolant temp sensor plug right here. The plastic housing had broken off when I unplugged it before, so I went to the salvage yard and got a new plastic clip for it. So now it's plugged in properly. Alright, next up is to pull this passenger side axle, put new boots on it. As you can see, I got my 4-foot cheater on there. You break the bolt loose with it on the ground. I also break the lug nuts on the wheel. So let me get this wheel off, this control arm loose, get this axle out, and replace the boots on it. Whoever put this axle on didn't put anti-seize in the thread area, and the axle stuck in there. So you gotta spin the nut to the end of it so you don't bust up your threads and you have your nut. And I tapped it through, but you gotta be careful not to mess up the end of the threads. There's the torn boot on that CV axle. I'm going to try a creative way of getting those boots on. So I'm going to go ahead and take those clamps off and open those up for you. And the gas that I drained out of the fuel tank is what I'm going to use to clean up these axle joints before I repack them in grease. Okay, I got the boots cut off, inner and outer. The only reason why I'm rebuilding this axle is because I know it's a genuine Volvo axle. I've been told that these ride smoother and last longer than aftermarket axles. So I'm going to go ahead and rebuild it. And last time I did this, I actually took them all the way apart and loose. I'm not going to do that this time. The inner joint was still sealed, so it really has no issues. I'm going to pack a little bit of grease in it. Now this outer joint, it had a split all the way around, so there's dirt and stuff in that. So I'm going to clean this up from here out, try to get it spotless, and then show you how I'm going to pack the grease in there and get these boots on. Okay, I got my CV axle washed out. There's no more grit in there. I got it dried out as best I could. You could actually, you know, pack the grease in there like that, or you could take it apart. If you look right in this area here, there's a clip ring in there. You pry that clip ring open and slip the knuckle, the ball piece off, and then you take them all apart. All the balls come out, all the that piece comes off, then you're just left with a shaft. And this end also has one of those clip rings in there where you could take that bone off of the end of that and have that out. Now, I seen a video where a guy lubricated a funnel and popped the CV boots over top of the joint there and slid it down and fastened it. So I'm going to try that method of installing these boots. Okay, here's the funnel that I have. I'm going to oil it up and put this end of the axle in there, and then I'm going to see if this boot will slide over there. Now this funnel is a little bit bigger than the end. I don't know if I should cut an inch off of this thing so it fits tight or not, but I'm going to try it like this first, and if I have to, I'll go back and cut it and try it again. Okay, I got the funnel oiled up. I got the boot in place. I got it over the end of my axle here. Now the guy that did this, I think he had this in a vise, the shaft in a vise, and he pulled that thing down with both hands to get it to pop over this. Yeah, it was like a lady having a baby. So I'm going to pull it as best I can, see if I can get it to pop over that, and you'll know in a second. Well, as you can see, the boot is still laying next to the axle. I don't know how that guy did that, but I couldn't get that thing halfway down. So I'm going to pop that clip, pull that joint off, slide those two boots on, and finish packing it with grease and putting it back together. Okay, since I couldn't slide that boot on, what I need to do is I need to mark the centerpiece. There's a part of that thing right there. You need to mark that on your shaft so you can put it back on the same orientation. You spread the clips over, then you start tapping the joint off of the shaft. Once you got that all the way off the shaft, you could spin those joints around, take all the ball bearings out. That's the ball bearing holder, that's the spline, and those are the bearings, and that's the end of the shaft. So I'm going to clean all this up one more time real quick, and then put it all back together. I'm going to slide the inner boot over the shaft and fasten it, and do the same with this back in here. Normally 1 pack of grease will do this outer, and 2 packs of grease does the inner. The kit that I got from IPD comes with 3 packs of grease, inner and the outer joint, clamps, new clip rings, and then the other clamps. And you got to have that special crimping tool, same that you use on the PVC, and I have one of those there. You don't crimp those on too tight, you just make them snug, because you don't want the clamps to tear into the boots. Alright, I got everything clean, dried, ready to go back together. So I'm going to go ahead and grease it up and put it all back together. Alright, I got the clamps on, both boots on. Now I'm going to put the axle back in. Okay, I got my wheel lugs tight. I got my axle lugs tight. I torqued it with the degree torque gauge, and I'm ready to put the car the rest of the way down and move on. Okay, when I turned the radio on yesterday or last night, I noticed all of the light bulbs were out except for the LCD, so I'm going to replace all the bulbs in it. You start out by removing the radio, take this screw out here, take this screw out here, this screw out here, and then undo the clips around the faceplate, pull it forward and access your light bulbs. I also pull the sliders and knobs off the front. Not sure what kind of faceplate it is, so those need to come off before you take the front off the radio. Okay, it had the faceplate that came totally off the front of the radio, and the radio has a control board behind the faceplate. And these are your light bulbs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I take out these 2 screws right here. I do some of these twist pegs that lock that in place. Then I fold that forward to pull those light bulbs out. I went ahead and built those light bulbs, and I put the blue tips on them because it helps the lighting through the face of the radio be nice and soft. Alright, radio's back together, ready to be slid in, and I'm going to write the code on the side of it when I go to install it. Last thing I'm going to do today is take the owner's manual and document all of the repairs and things that I've done to the car. That's the documentation for the work I've done on the car so far. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here, and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.